Ria TV, True FM.
Say Ria TV, True FM.
On Ria TV,
into True FM 96.1.
What's the meaning of the black barrier?
The black barrier is to tell Joseph Bakala if you don't organize yourself in a grateful manner, we'll take your data like
You might say what you want to say, but for us, we are here to make sure we build our country, that we are respected. We have donors that are coming because of the confidence.
Some news, summary of 12. My name is Hansen Der Represent. Welcome to News and Analysis, 30 minutes of news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and our one world.
Presenting this newscast is proudly sponsored by Orange Liberia and EcoBank Liberia Limited.
How is life after the presidency?
But before the presidency, the same life, that's what you see. I live a different life. You know, when I was not president, this life, that's what I live, you know, with my family and other.
Date of March 2025. Pleasant good evening and welcome to News Desk for the 5 minutes of news from the News and Current Affairs Department here at the Renaissance Communications Incorporated. My name is Johnson Gbarntolmah anchoring in the Airlines Liberia National Commission on Arms launched the registration of firearms owned by non-state actors across Liberia. UNICEF donates 30 Yamaha motorbikes to the Ministry of Education to ease the issue of mobility for teachers in rural Liberia. Suspended Director General of the National Fisheries and Aquaculture Authority, Emma Glasgow, files a $10 million United States lawsuit against the Liberian government at the ECOWAS Code for what she calls reputational damages, and away from Liberia's South African ambassador who was expelled from the U.S. after a war with the Donald Trump's government, says he has no regret. These plus many more. The reading of the news bulletin, sports are all packaged on today's edition of the program News Desk. We'll take a break to be back.
Ria TV, True FM.
Say Ria TV, True FM.
On Ria TV,
into True FM 96.1.
Empowered by Orange Liberia and EcoBank Liberia Limited. At this point, we join Naketa Roberts to set the pace with the reading of the news bulletin. Good evening.
Good evening, Johnson. Good evening, everyone. The Liberia National Commission on Arms has officially launched the registration of firearms and rifles in the hands of non-state actors in the country. Speaking during the launching ceremony held in Monrovia on Monday, the Commission's chairman, James Famoya, disclosed that the Commission will be registering 2 categories of firearms, including single barrels and automatic pistol. According to Famoya, the Commission will prefer business people who are interested in the importation of single barrel guns or pistols to seek the permission from government rather than bringing guns and ammunition in the country clandestinely. Famoyal explained that anyone seeking to register his own firearm will have to undergo thorough background check by a team of experts comprising officers of the Liberia National Police and the Liberia Immigration Service, the National Security Agency, and representatives of the Commission. He made it clear that the Commission will not be in the sale of arms or storing arms or ammunition of any category, but maintain that only people of credibility will be allowed to register and own arms for personal protection at night. In an effort to promote education, UNICEF has donated 30 motorbikes to the Ministry of Education to help ease the issue of mobility among teachers in rural Liberia. During the donation, UNICEF disclosed that the bikes are an initial contribution, disclosing that 30 more will be delivered soon. The bags are to be used by teachers in the rural areas. Making remarks at the dedication ceremony on Monday at the Ministry of Education, the director of Naketa Rural Teachers Training Institute, Sonat Sharif, termed the donation as timely, stating it will help ease the issue of mobility, which has been a huge problem for teachers in rural Liberia. In remark, the Assistant Minister for Teachers Education, Clifford Cornan, noted that the donation by UNICEF is a dream come true for the Ministry of Education, stating that the ministry have been working to empower and equip teachers across Liberia. The suspended Director General of the National Fisheries and Aquaculture Authority, Emma Glasgow, has filed a lawsuit against the government of Liberia at the ECOWAS High Court in Abuja, Nigeria. Glasgow is suing the government of Liberia for what she termed as violating her fundamental rights, specifically her rights to due process and an independent, fair trial. Emma Glasgow was recently suspended by President Joseph Boakai for alleged financial improprieties and has since been replaced. In her lawsuit at the ECOWAS Community Court against the Liberian government, Madam Glasgow is seeking 10 million United States dollars in reputational damages in response to what she believes is an unjust process. President Joseph Boakai has nominated additional members of government affecting the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Ministry of National Defense, and the Full Authority of Liberia. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, President Boakai named Heron P. Fambule, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the Arab Republic of Egypt. The Ministry of National Defense, Oscar F. Maba, was appointed as Assistant Minister for Public Affairs. At the Full Authority of Liberia, Priscilla Churub was appointed as Director General. Georgetta Great, Deputy Director General for Administration and Theophilus Dombarth, Deputy Director General for Technical Services, among others. These appointments were applicable or subject to confirmation by the Liberian Senate. President Boakai calls on appointed officials of government to continue to demonstrate diligence, commitment, integrity, professionalism, and loyalty in service to the country. The Liberian National Police has suspended 2 of its officers following investigations into the breaking into Representative Yeke Koluba's vehicle. According to an LMP release, the investigation was conducted by the Professional Standards Division of the police. Following the investigation, the LMP has suspended Chief Inspector of Police Frank Bender without pay for a period of 2 months for unlawfully entering the vehicle. Sergeant Sam Kaba has also been suspended without pay for a period of 1 month for unlawfully opening the vehicle. The PSD investigation primarily considered the allegations of police impropriety raised by Representative Yeke Koluba, who reported the loss of cash amounting to 25,000 United States dollars, 2 million Liberian dollars, and other valuable items, including 1 computer, 1 iPhone, and jewelry valued at 2,500 United States dollars. The stage is set for the prosecution of 4 students from the University of Liberia who violently entered the headquarters of the Liberia Football Federation to seek the removal of Mustafa Rajay from power as president of LFA on grounds that he is not a Liberian citizen. The students are Stephen Brown, Momo Bothel, Christian Bryant, and Obadiah Jalai of the Student Unification Party at the University of Liberia. The Monrovia City Court, according to our judicial correspondent, on Monday confirmed that the student's case had been assigned for April 2nd, 2025, contrary to reports that the matter was assigned for March 25th, 2025. Our judicial correspondent further said that the April 2nd proceeding was set that will see the students being arranged in the open court where their criminal rates will be read to them to ascertain their plea regarding their offenses consistent with Chapter 16, Section 72 of the Criminal Procedural Law of Liberia. They were forwarded to court on Friday, March 21st by the police for criminal prosecution on multiple offenses, ranging from criminal conspiracy, physical obstruction of government function, recklessly endangering another person, aggravated assault, criminal mischief, rioting, among others. But they were prevented from going to jail on the same day when their lawyers secured a valid criminal appearance bond to secure their release. A priest of the Presbyterian Catholic Church who was accused of raping one of his members' daughters has finally surfaced with a motion at Criminal Court E seeking to dismiss his sexual offense case against him. Priest Daniel George, age 32, request to the court, according to our judicial correspondent, is as a result of prosecuting lawyers' failure to proceed with the matter since his arrest in October 2024. Priest George's application to drop cases as charges against him is consistent with Chapter 18, Section 18.2 of the Criminal Procedure Law, which states that an accused person shall be tried within 2 court terms. And it further states that failure on the part of the prosecuting attorney to proceed with the matter warrant dismissal on this provision. But our judicial correspondent revealed that since the arrest of the clergyman in October 2024, prosecuting lawyers claimed that they were finding it difficult to proceed with defendant Daniel George, priest at the Presbyterian Catholic Church sex case in the court. The newly appointed Acting Director General of the National Fisheries and Aquaculture Authority, Cyrus Singway, has officially taken office, replacing Emma Glasgow. Giving his March inception speech on Monday, the Acting Director General disclosed that the World Bank financed Liberia's Sustainable Management of Fisheries project's current balance is approximately 21 million, as the project will come to an end in September 2026. Cyrus Singway also pointed out some key challenges his administration inherited at the Liberia Fisheries Authority. Singway further says, among other things, says financial arrears is US 3.1 million from pending vendors' payments over the years. Mr. Singway maintained that the Liberia Fisheries Authority is further bound by critical international treaties commitments, including addressing Liberia's yellow card status. He stated that his administration met an unverified bank balance of at least 450,000 United States dollars that will meet critical salary obligation for staff March and April 2025. A high-power delegation from the Shaddai University of India has met with the president of the University of Liberia, Dr. Lady Myean. The University of Liberia and Shaddai University have long enjoyed a strong academic partnership, and the meeting was another step towards expanding their cooperation. The delegation, led by Shaddai University manager of internal relations, Shishin Sini, to the University of Liberia is aimed at strengthening academic ties and exploring new opportunities for harnessing their continuous collaborations. Senate, on behalf of the president of Shaddai University, congratulated Dr. Myean on her appointment, praising her for her leadership at university within this short period of time, thus reaffirming Shaddai's university commitment to strengthening their partnership. In an effort to further cementing their relationship, Shaddai University extended an official invitation to Dr. Myean to attend their international convention in June 2025, where 30 Liberian students are expected to graduate. The Ministry of Health has commenced a 2-day stakeholders validation dialogue on Liberia Health Equity Funds. The validation is a fundamental mechanism intended to improve access to health care for disadvantaged and low-income population. Speaking at the commencement ceremony on Monday in Pinsville, Deputy Health Minister for Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation, Malia Chayol, disclosed that the meeting seeks to bring together major actors in the health sectors and strategize provision of adequate health services for the citizenry in line with goal number 3 of the Sustainable Development Goals, which calls for providing affordable health for everyone. According to him, the well-being of the citizenry remains the top priority of the government, underscoring a healthy population as the foundation of the development of any country. For its part, the director of the cabinet, Nathaniel Kobwe, disclosed the validation as part of President Boakar's vision to achieve universal health care in Liberia. The Student Union of the University of Liberia is calling for a comprehensive audit in the operation of the financial department of the university. Addressing the media on Monday, the student union president asserted that due to financial malpractices, the university is owing the student union about 10 million from 2020 to 2025. The University of Liberia Student Union says their call for an audit followed lack of proper account for students' funds and financial mismanagement at the university, among others. University of Liberia Student Union noted that the issue of financial mispractices has hampered their operation. The union hereby called for a comprehensive audit of the school finance department and recommend that strong actions be taken against those found guilty to discourage the act of corruption and serve as deterrents for others. The National Naketa Motorbike Riders Welfare and Advocacy Organization of Liberia has strongly condemned the decision of the Supreme Court Justice in Chambers Tiana Clinton Johnson. Nakemo's chairman, Usman Sese, said his organization's condemnation is based on Justice Johnson's unjust decision to reject the petition filed on their behalf by the Solidarity and Trust for a New Day stand in their legal representative, Councillor Simon Serena Seifert. Addressing a press conference outside Monrovia on Monday, Sese pointed out that they consider the ruling of the Supreme Court to be unfair and a direct violation of the rights of keke and motorbike riders. They are demanding justice and an immediate reversal of the decision by the Supreme Court, noting that it is clear that the police RG Gregory Comer, the Justice Minister, and the Justice in Chambers have all connived in denying them justice and undermining the peace and stability of the country. Usman Sese made it clear that if the government refuses to lift the unjust bounds on cyclists, they will mobilize keke and motorbike riders nationwide for massive protests that will result in a complete lockdown of the country. And out of Liberia now, the South African ambassador who was expelled from the U.S. after a row with Donald Trump's government has said he has no regrets. Ibrahim Russell arrived back home on Sunday and was welcomed by hundreds of joyous supporters at Cape Town International Airport. Tensions between South Africa and the U.S. have been on a downward spiral since Trump came into office in January. Russell, 62, was declared unwelcome in the U.S. after Secretary of State Marco Rubin called him a race-biting politician who hates America. That's RCA News Bulletin. Is back to Johnson Gbarntolmah.
Ria TV, True FM.
See Ria TV, True FM.
On Ria TV,
Into True FM 96.1.
What's the meaning of the black barrier? The black barrier is to tell Joseph Bakala if you don't organize yourself in a grateful manner, we'll keep your data.
You might say what you want to say, but for us, we are here to make sure we build our country, that we are respected.
News Bulletin is a regular feature here on News Desk. Thanks to Naketa Roberts for bringing us the News Bulletin. It's a regular feature here on the program. Like I said, we've been powered by Orange Liberia and EcoBank Liberia Limited. They are our two sponsors on the program. Let's bring you our first development here on the program. The Liberia National Commission on Arms has officially launched the registration of firearms and rifles in the hands of non-state actors in the country. Speaking during the launching ceremony held in Monrovia on Monday, the Commission chairperson James Afamoya disclosed that the Commission will be registering two categories of firearms, including single barrel and automatic pistol. According to Myean, the Commission will prefer business people who are interested in the importation of single barrel guns or pistol to seek the permission from government rather than bringing guns and ammunition in the country clandestinely.
Begin operation in other parts of the country with the availability of resources. There are two categories of civilian arms that will be registered. The first category is a shooter, fire, 16 or double barrel rifle for hunting, but the exercise is intended to make sure that we have all of them registered and recorded. Other category besides the same gun will be used for hunting, some people use it for game or recreation, and that's another level. So for traditional ceremony. Second category is 1.6 millimeters, 9 millimeters, well, use it in your straight round. Your special needs in the country will have different categories of people, will have officials of government, minister or judges of the Supreme Court, Chief Justice, Assembly Justices, Head of Public Operation, Deputy Minister. These are people who will fall in the category of special need, eminent citizens, because they will need side weapons to protect themselves at night. And these are people that the thing will not engage in armed robbery. Since certain people you know that they are ever going to be armed robbery. So we create room for those category of people who also get a side weapon and in place for vetting will apply to all. At the same time, conscious of that, we will just bring a club break where every time they will come that a non-weapon, avoid those people that never ever aspiring to be like America, where people buy one like buying candy, it will shop. There will be some level of control, because if we do that, we also are seeing what happened in America. Children go behind their parents, take weapons, go to school, kill their friends. You see it happen every now and then. So we are very mindful of that. So we will take on responsibility of every arm. We know that there's a corresponding responsibility for that here. That's where security, something that we are dealing with, the police, the NSA, immigration, all of us working together to make sure that say John Brown, all of our procurement weapons are made, all the background checks are being done, and make sure that that person will be held accountable for whatever.
He is the chairman of the Liberia National Commission on Arms, James Fumoyade, speaking at a press conference in Monrovia. The Ministry of Health has commenced to the stakeholders validation dialogue on Liberia Health Equity Funds. The validation is a financial mechanism intended to improve access to healthcare for disadvantaged and low-income population. Speaking at the commencement ceremony in Painesville, Deputy Health Minister for Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation, Malaya Chilo, as chair, disclosed that the meeting seeks to bring together major actors in the health sector to strategize in the provision of adequate health services for the citizenry in line with the Goal 3 of the Sustainable Development Goals, which calls for providing affordable health for everyone.
what is important for all of us to know that a healthy population is the foundation of any development in the world. Without a healthy population, forget about development, you will never achieve it. So what we are here to do is in the interest of promoting a healthy population.
Malaya Chia is the Deputy Minister for Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation. They're speaking at the start of a two-day stakeholders validation dialogue for Liberian health practitioners. They're speaking for his part. The director of the Liberian Cabinet, Naketa Roberts, disclosed that the validation is part of the president's vision to achieve universal health care in Liberia. Roberts stressed the need for access to adequate health care for every Liberian, underscoring health as a fundamental right for every citizen. Nathaniel Kwabo is the director of the Liberian Cabinet. They're speaking. Also speaking, the House Committee Chair of Ways, Means and Finance, Representative Mark Jury, abolished the Ministry of Health and partners to use the outcome of the dialogue to address the root causes of health disparities in the country.
It's history in the making, and I'm glad to be a part of this history. Liberia Health Equity Funds that we discussed a few years back in Myean is coming to realization after the stakeholders meeting, and I hope we can get there. In my understanding, this equity fund should aim to address health disparities by providing financial resources to improve access to health care and address the root causes of health inequalities, particularly for our marginalized and vulnerable populations in this country. I know there are different types of equity funds. I hope this program that we are about to discuss will cover the General Health Equity Fund and the Special Health Equity Fund. I do know from previous discussions that the General Health Equity Fund aims to address inequalities across this country, to provide health care, quality of care, and addressing social determinants for our poor people. And the Special Health Funds to cover people with diabetes, people with epilepsy, and different categories. Being a part of the beginning, I don't know whether today is going to be the end, but being a part of this process today, I'm glad that we are having this big stakeholders engagement. And I pray that by the end of this stakeholders engagement, Liberians will move one step forward. On behalf of the members of the House of Representatives, in my capacity as the chairman on the Ways, Means and Finance, I'd like to pledge the support of the House of Representatives in working with the Ministry of Finance to get this initiative underway. Whatever we can do, the Speaker asked me to promise that we will be there to work together to ensure quality of health, particularly for vulnerable populations in this country.
His House Committee Chair on Ways, Means and Finance, Representative Mark Jury, there speaking on her voice. of the Director of the Liberian Cabinet, Naketa Roberts, who also spoke on behalf of the Liberian government, and also the Deputy Health Minister for Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation, Malaya Chia, who also spoke at the start of a 2-day stakeholder validation dialogue on Liberia Health Equity Funds. If you are just joining us, please be informed that this is News Desk for the 5 minutes of news from the News and Current Affairs Department here at the Renaissance Communications Incorporated. In our top developments, Liberia National Commission on Arms launches the restriction of firearms owned by state and non-state actors in Liberia. UNICEF donates 30 Yamaha motorbikes to the Ministry of Education to ease the issue of mobility for teachers in rural Liberia. Suspended Director General of the National Fisheries and Aquaculture Authority, Emma Glasgow, files a that's $10 million United States dollars lawsuit against the Liberian government at ECOWAS Code for what she calls repetition and damages. And away from Liberia, South African ambassador who was expelled from the U.S. after a war with Donald Trump's government says he has no regret. Let's bring you more developments here on the program News Desk. In an effort to promote education, UNICEF Liberia has donated 30 pieces of Yamaha motorbikes to the Ministry of Education to help ease the issue of mobility among teachers in rural Liberia. During the donation, UNICEF disclosed that the bags are an initial contribution, disclosing that 30 more will be delivered soon. Speaking or making remarks at the dedicatory ceremony Monday at the Ministry of Education, the director of Naketa Roberts Teachers Training Institute, Soma affirmed the donation as timely, stating it will help ease the issue of mobility for teachers. For his part, the director of Zoso Rural Teacher Institute, Abel Kakula, appreciated UNICEF for the donation, noting it will help teachers in Zoso address the issue of mobility.
Of this motorbike actually originated as a result of the teacher support that we have been providing since 2021. In 2023, our teachers were sent out there to conduct this assessment. So during that process, they had a lot of obstacles. Mobility was a serious challenge for them. So it was as a result of that that the minister decided to procure motorbikes for TTIs so that whosoever wants to go out, teachers have to go out there for supervision, monitoring, or any other support. They don't have to go through the obstacles, the challenges that they faced the last time. That's why these motorbikes have been given. And that is why that these are not there anymore. So we have additional ones in the program. We highly appreciate it. We are grateful to UNICEF and also to the Bureau of Teacher Education.
I'm very happy, delighted. I want to say thanks to UNICEF, the Ministry of Education, vis-a-vis the Bureau of Teacher Education. I think you were there during my induction program. The challenge we have for mobility. And we talk about most recently, and we have only one paper. That paper is not able to make ground for the institution. As a matter of fact, our institution is located in a way that we serve 3 counties, Lofa, Bon, and Nimba. So we have one vehicle. You can imagine the challenge we have in moving our teachers from one point to another to be able to supervise, like now, our practice teachers. And we just roll out the B certificate program, and we have scheduled the entrance and placement examination at April 5th.
There are 2 representatives of the Naketa Roberts Teacher Training Institute and the Zoso Rural Training Institute, Abel Kakula and Sona Sherry. Speaking in remarks, the Assistant Minister for Teacher Education, Clifford Kona, noted that the donation by UNICEF is a dream come true for the Ministry of Education.
Not my sources, but the sources of this administration, headed by our fantastic Minister of Education, Dr. Johnson Gbarntolmah, is commitment, dedication, passion for education. Because if you say you are an educator and you are occupying a strategic position within the school systems, you have to work so that the blueprint, the hallmark will remain. And these are things that Dr. Jara is always putting us on our feet for us to go out there in line with our terms of reference to explore thought avenues to build the capacity, not just the capacity, but to strengthen our institution. So, like you said, the secret is what? Passion, commitment, dedication. When we started this negotiation, we projected close to 500 each for each of the TTR because, for example, KR TTR has needed close to 20-30 master's trainers, so we need more motorbikes. So this was our argument before our partners that we need more motorbikes. And these bikes are for school-based monitoring and evaluation, and also because we're trying to take our training outside of the Rural Teacher Training Institution and have a cluster within the various counties of that scope of operation, because residential training is very expensive. So this was our point before our partners. So today I'm seated in this seat as one of the happiest existing ministers under the Boaga-led administration. That what we push for, at least 50% have been delivered to the Rural Teacher Training Institutions to strengthen the area of logistics, so that our master trainer, remember when the last show we had at EFDC, one of the chorus called for so, and I told him that we would not build teacher training institution there because Grand Bazaar is already being mapped on our Naketa teacher training institution. But what we intend to do is to have more clusters training at the level of the rural county. So these bags will help to ease that aspect of our training. The relation of neighbors to talk about whether they are on teaching parties, and whenever we send our trainees out of the campus for teaching parties, we assigned mentor teachers with them, right? Where the teacher will go every day to monitor that performance, because teaching is we do 95% of our activity in the classroom.
Clifford Kona is Assistant Minister for Teachers Education at the Ministry of Education. They are speaking on her voices of representatives from the Zosa Rural Training Institute, Ebe Kakula and Sona Sharif, who represented the Naketa Rural Training Institute, speaking during the donation of 30 motorbikes by UNICEF Liberia. The Student Union of the University of Liberia is calling for a comprehensive audit in the operation of the finance department of the university. Addressing the media on Monday at UL's union, president asserted that due to the financial malpractices, the university is owing the student union allegedly about 10 million from 2020 to 2025. The president of the University of Liberia Student Union says their call for an audit follows a lot of proper account for student funds and financial mismanagement at the university, among others.
Department due to its failure to ensure transparency and equitable salary disbursements. Also, it approves just demand and it sets on a comprehensive audit of the university financial operations, as we have been affected by such financial malpractices that have resulted in the business and finance office owing also nothing less than $10 million from 2020 to 2025. The lack of accountability has contributed to the financial suffering of both the members, student activities, academic advancements, and undermine the credibility of this institution. In the same vein, the University also fully oppose the principle of transparency and accountability in financial matters, particularly concerning the proper management of student union funds. In light of persistent inconsistencies and failures to account for these funds over the years, also recognizes the urgent need for a thorough financial review. The student union leadership believes that financial mismanagement and denial of party funds have not fully the trust in student leadership, but also towards the effective operation of the union, including the target dischargement of our duties in the absence of resources necessary for student welfare and operational funds. It is therefore imperative that those responsible for these discrepancies be identified and held accountable to set a precedent that discourages malpractices. This commitment of financial justice is rooted in the broader struggle for students' empowerment, ensuring that resources meant for student development are utilized appropriately and equitably. It is in this light that we join the bystanders and call for immediate radical transformatory action in the financial department of the university. Also, in alignment with part-time instructors and the Job Faculty Association, thereby demand swift action of the government and the University of Liberia administration to address the following concerns: immediate payment of all arrears owed to part-time instructors, a clear transparent financial framework that ensures timely and fair salary disbursement. The restructuring of the university finance department to restore financial credibility. The salary review policy that reflects academic qualifications and professional growth. Organizing access to the University of Johnson Students Union designated of 10 million dollars to enable equitable portioning. Failure to address these demands with immediate impact policy and their federal permanent members will be led with no alternative but to take radical action, including but not limited to a massive radical campuses of the University of Nigeria, the mobilization of students and faculty to engage government for further redress.
Jacqueline Timber is the president of the University of Liberia Student Union, speaking at a press conference in Monrovia. The National Keke and Motorbike Riders Welfare and Advocacy Organization of Liberia has strongly condemned the decision of the Supreme Court Justice in Chamber, Senator Johnson. The association chairman, Usman Sisi, said the organization condemnation is based on Justice Johnson's unjust decision to reject the petition filed on their behalf by the Solidarity and Trust for a New Day stand and their legal representative, Councillor Serena Sipos, addressing a press conference outside Monrovia on Monday. Sisi pointed out that they consider this ruling to be unfair and a direct violation of the rights of keke and motorbike riders.
Advocacy Organization of Liberia strongly condemn the decision of the Supreme Court Justice in Timber, Justice Senior T. Johnson. Our condemnation is based on just decision to reject the petition filed on our behalf by the Solidarity and Trust for a New Day, represented by its chairman, Morva K. Molu, and our legal representative, Councillor Serena Sipos. We consider this ruling to be unfair and direct violation of the rights of keke and mobile riders. We demand justice and immediate reversal of the decision. It is clear that the Inspector General of Police, Karen Coleman, the Minister of Justice, and the Justice in Chamber have all convened in denying us justice and undermining the peace and stability of Liberia. History has shown that when people's rights are repeatedly tampered with, public uprising becomes inevitable. Let this be a clear message to the government of Liberia and the Supreme Court of Liberia. The rejection of our petition is an outright violation of our fundamental rights. We are fully aware that Justice Clinton Johnson was appointed by President Joseph Mabwaka, and she's acting in his interests rather than upholding the law. We are prepared to resist this injustice at all costs. If the government refuses to lift a unjust ban on cyclists, we will mobilize keke and motorbike riders nationwide for massive protests that will result in a complete lockdown of the country.
Usman Sisi is the chairman of the National Keke and Motorbike Riders Welfare and Advocacy Organization of Liberia. They're speaking at a press conference outside Monrovia on Monday, taking us home on today's edition of the program News Desk. But as we take leave of you, a recap of our headlines. Liberia National Commission on Arms launches the registration of firearms owned by non-state actors across Liberia. UNICEF donates 30 Yamaha motorbikes to the Ministry of Education to ease the issue of mobility for teachers in rural Liberia. Suspended Director General of the National Fisheries and Aquaculture Authority, Emma Glasgow, filed a $10 million United States lawsuit against the Liberian government at the ECOWAS Court for what she calls reputational damages. And away from Liberia, South African ambassador was expelled from the U.S. after a war with Donald Trump's government, says he has no regret. We'd love to say many thanks to our writers, contributors, correspondents for making today's edition of the program sources. Special thanks to FED radio station for relaying this broadcast. Enrich Liberia and EcoBank Liberia Limited are our two sponsors on the program. Thanks to Kopo Sanga, who set up control and produce our sounds. Myean Torgbean was behind the camera. Thanks to Naketa Roberts, who read for us the news bulletin. Thanks to all of you for your listening role. My name is Johnson Gbarntolmah. I presented. Good night.
Ria TV, True FM.
Ria TV, True events.
On Myean TV.
Into Truth FM 96.1.
What's the meaning of the black barrier?
The black barrier is to tell Joseph Bakala if you don't organize yourself in a respectful manner, we'll take your plate.
You might say what you want to say, but for us, we are here to make sure we build our country, that we are respected. We have donors that are coming because of the confidence.
Some news summary of 12. My name is Hansen there represent.
Welcome to News and Analysis, 30 minutes of news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and our one world.
Presenting this newscast is proudly sponsored by Orange Liberia and EcoBank Liberia Limited.
How is life after the presidency?
But before the presidency, the same life that what you see. I live a different life. You know, when I was not president, this life that what I live. You know, with my family and
I have a lot of interest in the health sector, the educational sector, and the agriculture sector. Those connecting those systems.
Yeah, we are calling international community to come to intervene for us because, like I just stated previously, we don't know who to trust.
Always make sure to turn on to our
Myean TV and listening to Truth FM 96.1.